This is CBC Winnipeg News.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. The federal government has introduced its budget, the first under Prime Minister Mark Carney. It will drive up the deficit with what the Liberals call generational investments. Kate McKenna reports on the spending and the cuts.
Sure.
The Carney government's first budget hits the reset button after Donald Trump's re-election.
Mr. Speaker, when our steel, aluminum, forestry, auto, and agriculture industries were hit by U.S. tariff and trade disruptions, we did not stand by and wait for the storm to pass.
It's a budget with big spending and big cuts. There will be $280 billion in capital investments over 5 years, targeting infrastructure, productivity, defense, and home building.
This budget is guided by the strong conviction that Canada must remain a nation of builders, of infrastructure and of innovation, of trust in public institutions and hope for generations to come.
But it also includes $60 billion in cuts, including 40,000 public sector jobs over 5 years.
We need to bring back the civil service to a more sustainable level.
It also includes a massive deficit, coming in at over $78 billion, still less than some economists predicted.
The government's books remain sustainable. I suspect that pretty much any other G7 country would happily trade places with Canada right now with our deficit number, including the United States.
All of this happening with Trump's tariffs and aggressive industrial policy in the background, and Canada's own economy lagging.
Prime Minister Carney may have been handed one of the worst decks to play cards with. These are some of the worst cards you can imagine.
But Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre says that's no excuse for a deficit this big.
Today, the Liberals have introduced the most costly and largest budget deficit in history outside of COVID. The cost of this Liberal budget will drive up the cost of food, housing, and everything else that Canadians buy.
Mark Carney will need to sell this budget to Canadians, but also to the opposition parties. In a minority parliament, at least some opposition MPs will need to support it or abstain in order for the budget to pass. If it's voted down, that could trigger an election before the end of the year. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Ottawa.
Manitoba's premier sees positives for the province in the federal budget. Wab Kinew pointed to mentions of the Port of Churchill in Ottawa's spending plan,
which gives us another sign of momentum that we're going to build this big nation-building project here in Manitoba. And to put a finer point on it, there's an icebreaker on the cover of their budget document. So come on, send one of those over here to Manitoba.
The budget says the Major Projects Office will work to expand export capacity in the north through Hudson Bay. It's not one of the country's first major nation-building projects, and there's no dollar figure attached. Winnipeg's mayor is also finding things he likes following a quick review of the budget. Scott Gillingham hopes funding for infrastructure will help the city pay for the widening of Kenaston and Route 90 and complete the third phase of upgrades at the North End sewage treatment plant.
And that project, I keep talking about it, it's so critical to the future of Winnipeg. It's critical to us being able to add more housing at a time when we need more housing, and it's critical to our future's economy because there's a capacity issue there. For us to open up Winnipeg's economy in the future, we need to get that third phase built.
Gillingham says federal funding for the sewage plant upgrades will be key in helping the city keep water and sewer rate hikes down in coming years. Well, many were keeping an eye out for how this budget would help those who are struggling to keep their heads above water. And with increasing prices and the rising cost of living, that group is getting bigger and bigger, especially when it comes to being able to feed your family. One group in Manitoba is seeing that demand grow as the holidays near. CBC's Felicia Adam has more.
Hello, Christmas Cheerboard.
It was non-stop at Christmas Cheerboard.
9 till 8.
Within hours of opening up phone lines, hundreds of calls came through asking for a Christmas hamper. Shauna Bell is the executive director of the organization.
The unfortunate reality is that need increasing year over year has become just an expectation rather than something that's a surprise any longer.
Last year, Bell says they handed out 21,000 hampers to Winnipeggers. This year, the number is expected to be higher.
We've seen costs go up significantly, and the cost of living is really, salaries are not increasing to the same level.
You're probably noticing higher costs while out shopping, and you wouldn't be wrong. According to Statistics Canada, you're paying 4% more compared to last year. Costs for things like beef, seeds, nuts, and chocolate have all gone up by over 10%. Statistics Canada says out of all the items it tracked, coffee went up the most at over 28%.
It's so high, and it shouldn't be like that, you know? It never used to be.
The rising cost at the grocery store means Ross Spearman is shopping differently.
I can walk into a grocery store and I won't even buy anything because I just walk the aisles and say everything's too high, and I leave.
Doug Finnick is semi-retired. He says if costs continue to go up, he'll have to go back to work full-time.
I know the CPP is pretty low if you're in your 60s, as I am, and it's under $800. So what do you do with $800? That's kind of in a week.
This is all of our pasta sauce. We've got beans that are going in.
The rising costs isn't changing what's going into the hampers, but for things like chocolate, the charity says it has to get creative. Felicia Adam, CBC News, Winnipeg.
The city's plan to restrict where homeless encampments are allowed is moving forward. The new rules will ban tents near schools, playgrounds, and transit shelters. Some community advocates say they understand the safety concerns, but warn the city's approach could make things worse if it isn't paired with a more compassionate solution. CBC's Cameron McLean reports.
In less than 2 weeks, new rules banning tents within 50 meters of schools, playgrounds, and daycares, and 30 meters of transit shelters, bridges, and docks take effect. The city says it's about safety, both for people using public spaces and for those living in encampments.
There does need to be a ban on encampments.
St. Boniface Streetlinks founder Marian Willis says she could support the city's plan on one condition.
I can only support this on the condition that there's a parallel action to establish a managed encampment housing site.
Willis points to Halifax, where the city set up designated encampments with basic services and outreach on site. A model she says helped move people into housing and reduced the number of homeless camps over time. The city currently has 3 designated sites, down from 5 earlier this year. And staff are in the process of developing a new homeless strategy that phases out the encampments entirely. Outreach worker Claude Biggity spent years in and out of encampments. He says a managed encampment site would have helped him get housing sooner.
If there was something like that available for me, I would check it out. It doesn't hurt not to. You know what I mean?
The new restrictions take effect November 17th. Outreach workers say they'll keep working with the city, but warn without a place for people to go, the problem will just move somewhere else. Cameron McLean, CBC News, Winnipeg.
A 28-year-old man has been arrested and charged after police say his girlfriend was shot during a fight in an apartment. It happened in a suite on Wellington Crescent shortly after 2 a.m. Sunday. Police say the two had an altercation when he pulled out a gun which discharged, striking his 25-year-old girlfriend at close range. She ran out of the building and flagged down help, and he took off. She was taken to hospital in critical condition with what police call a life-altering injury. He was arrested Monday afternoon and charged with aggravated assault. All right, time now to bring in Riley Lachak. And Riley, another kind of frosty, chillier start to the day. But I mean, I saw that forecast of yours last night, and we are still looking towards snow for the weekend. A couple more days of this.
I mean, with the frost, just consider yourself lucky for now, because things are changing here as we get through the next couple of days. Satellite and radar through the afternoon hours, actually a mostly sunny sky, a little bit of cloud cover through parts of the north and extreme southern Manitoba. Did see actually a few showers even along the international border through the afternoon today. I mean, nothing quite to write home about other than some scattered showers, but nonetheless, still seeing some of that through into the early evening hours here. Temperature-wise, we got up to 7 today in Winnipeg. normal for this time of the year at 2 degrees. So yes, well above seasonal still for this time of the year. Southwestern Manitoba, Brandon, Dauphin through Melita at 9s today. Dauphin at also 9 degrees, 8 in Swan River, and some cooler air starting to encroach on extreme northern parts of the province. And we're actually looking at some overnight temperatures into the early morning, even minus double digits in some cases in northern Manitoba. So overnight temperature around -1, a clearing sky tonight, looking at mainly sunny skies into the morning, around the freezing mark once again with a light northwesterly wind, and we'll try for 6 tomorrow afternoon. A mainly sunny sky, Brittany. Bit of precipitation on the way. I'll go into details when I come back in just a bit.
All right, maybe I just need to sleep a little longer till it warms up a little bit.
Exactly.
Thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
Coming up, we'll shift to provincial politics and find out what bills were passed today and which ones didn't. That and more after the break. Manitoba's NDP government has agreed to support a Liberal bill on universal screening for learning disabilities in early grades. It's now being fast-tracked with support from all parties. CBC's Gavin Axelrod joins us now. And Gavin, how exactly would this work?
Well, Manitoba children will be screened between kindergarten and grade 4 for reading difficulties. A screening tool would look at phonics and reading fluency to help identify students who might be falling behind. Teachers would then have to make parents aware of their child's results by their following report card. The bill was brought forward by Cindy Lamoureux, Manitoba's only Liberal MLA. Carrie Wood is one of the supporters of the bill. She's a teacher and dyslexia advocate who says her children would have benefited from this.
Unfortunately, children can slip through the cracks right now, and what's often referred to as a wait to fail model, where we're waiting and hoping that they grow out of their reading difficulties. That happened with both of my children, and unfortunately they haven't grown out of their reading difficulties. They're both seeing privately paid tutors.
Education Minister Tracy Schmidt says the province will work with the various school boards, experts in the field, and teachers to come up with appropriate tools to screen children for reading challenges.
So, Gavin, the bill that would expand how long highly intoxicated people can be detained and see the creation of a new 72-hour detox facility hung over the House today. What's happening there?
Well, the government now says it will sit during what was supposed to be a scheduled break if the bill doesn't pass by Thursday. Although they won't sit on Remembrance Day, Government House Leader Nahanni Fontaine blames the opposition for the holdup.
They are playing political theatrics and politics and putting their leaders' egos before Manitobans, before Manitoba families, before keeping our streets safe.
The Tories say they support the bill in principle, but they say the government is trying to rush it through.
So they want to just do everything over through regulation, over the minister's desk, with a stroke of a pen.
We also learned Tuesday that former Deputy Premier Cliff Cullen has paid his $12,000 fine for violating the province's Conflict of Interest Act. Cullen, along with former Premier Heather Stephenson and former Tory Cabinet Minister Jeff Wharton, were also fined. Manitoba's Ethics Commissioner found the three broke the rules by trying to push through approval of a silica sand mine project after losing the 2023 election. Stephenson and Wharton have already paid their fines. Brittany.
All right, thank you. That's CBC's Gavin Axelrod. The trial against an alleged high-level Hells Angel is winding down. Crown attorneys say the evidence is so strong the judge must convict him. It's a case that read more like the plot of a movie and saw police turn a drug dealer into an informant in a bid to take the gangster down. The CBC's Bryce Hoy reports on what happened in court.
Prosecutors say that after weeks of evidence at trial, including secret recordings and messages from encrypted apps, that there should be no doubt that Damian Ryan was the leader of a criminal drug trafficking network, despite attempts to conceal his identity. On Tuesday, prosecutors wrapped their closing arguments in Ryan's trial after weeks of testimony from witnesses and Agent 66, a drug dealer turned informant who helped RCMP. Ryan was arrested in early 2022, part of a pan-Canadian RCMP investigation. He was charged with trafficking meth, cocaine, and fentanyl, and conspiring to benefit from proceeds of crime. RCMP called Ryan likely one of the most prolific organized crime members in Canada. They say he's a member of the Hells Angels and the Wolfpack gang. Much of the Crown's case focused on establishing that aliases like Mr. Wolf, Berserker, Polar Bear, and others were actually Ryan. Court also heard Agent 66 worked his way through lower-level suppliers over about a year to eventually meeting Ryan face-to-face in Montreal in December 2021. The agent was wearing a wire. They talked about guns and drugs. A month later, the agent got a shipment of 5 kilos of cocaine in Winnipeg. Now, prosecutors say that meeting is proof enough of Ryan's guilt, on top of the hours of secret recordings and deals done with intermediaries. The defense is expected to offer its closing arguments next week. Bryce Hoy, CBC News, Winnipeg.
Illegal border crossings between Manitoba, North Dakota, and Minnesota are way down this year, but patrol agents are still issuing a warning ahead of the cold winter months. U.S. Border Patrol say illegal crossings southbound from Manitoba are down 60%, and crossings north into Manitoba have dropped 20%. They credit the Trump administration's border crackdown. Agents say trusting human smugglers puts people's lives in jeopardy, and they're warning people who might be considering trying to cross illegally not to.
Doesn't just mean people coming into the U.S., it also means people headed in the other direction. We want to clear up the border for those that that cross the border legally and safely. Everybody else, depending on which direction they're going, though, they will face fines, penalties, arrest, and prosecutions.
He says officers are nabbing human smugglers before they get into Canada to pick up people wanting to cross into the U.S. illegally. They're using mobile surveillance capability vehicles and drones. Time now for another check with Riley. And Riley, yesterday the big story here in weather was the wind. What is it for the rest of the week?
Well, incoming snow for some of us, Brittany, and you might be thinking, oh gee, not another round of precipitation. If you think it's been wet recently across parts of the province, well, you're not wrong. Have a look at some of these numbers that I've captured here from Environment Canada. This is our October rainfall. Now that we're in November, we have a full picture at this versus what we would typically see in a normal October. Winnipeg, almost 250% of our normal precipitation falling in October, 136% in Brandon. Not as much in Dauphin, but Kenora, Thompson also seeing a very wet month, just about 100 millimeters. And in Winnipeg in particular, this is our third wettest October on record. So if it's not just you, if you think it's been a bit damp and a bit dreary, it has been, and this is a good thing as we head into the winter months because we're slowly starting to make a bit of a dent in that moisture deficit that we've been in for quite a while now. So this is from Manitoba Agriculture, our percent normal precipitation from May 1st all the way up to just about the end of October. And you can see most of southern Manitoba now at or above our normal precipitation for this time of the year. But we're still looking at this fairly deep pocket through the Inner Lake here where we definitely could use a lot more precipitation as we head into the winter months ahead of the spring growing season. I do have a bit of precipitation in the forecast, this in the form of some rain and some snow for some as we get through the next couple of days. So as we get through Wednesday, mainly sunny skies, a pretty decent day on the way tomorrow. Then we'll start to see a bit of cloud cover starting to build in once again. And as we get into the day on Thursday, this does start to push west to east across the province, for the most part staying south of the Trans-Canada Highway, but I do have a good chance of showers in the forecast for Winnipeg, but back into southwestern Manitoba. I think for Brandon, this is generally going to be a rain event, but as we see temperatures cooling, and particularly into some of those higher elevations, this could be an event where we do see 1 to 3 centimeters of snow even. As we advance this into Friday morning, I do have a chance that we do get a few flurries in Winnipeg, at least overnight into Friday morning, but generally this is tapering off by the time we get into the day on Friday, and then we're left with really just a mainly cloudy sky as we get Friday and into the weekend, where we could see a bit more precipitation on the way. What this is translating into is a fairly broad area where we do get about 5 to 10 millimeters of rain, but again, some of those higher elevations, we could be seeing things in the range of 1 to 3 centimeters of snow even as we get into the next couple of days here. So we'll keep our eye on that as the system nears as we get into the day on Thursday. But for now, temperatures as we head into the morning, looking at just below the freezing mark for many of us, -3 in Dauphin, but some minus double digits, -10 in Churchill, -12 in Dooley Lake. This is a ridge, a trough that starts to form in the jet stream that does bring us some cooler temperatures, as you'll see in the long range, Brittany. -1 for Friday, and maybe some more flurries coming our way into Saturday.
All right, thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
There is much more to come after the break. Stay with us. There's been rising calls for harsher sentences for repeat offenders and to impose tougher conditions for people awaiting trial. The federal government says it plans to crack down on violent crime and make it harder to get bail. CBC News took a look inside Winnipeg's bail court to learn more about who's being released and who isn't. CBC's Caitlin Gowerluck takes us there.
An 18-year-old accused of stealing a truck, then driving dangerously through Provincial Prairie. He's just one of the people recently denied bail in Winnipeg.
We spent time in the bail courts inside this courthouse to learn more about who's being released, who's not, and why.
As the federal government promises sweeping changes to the bail system to make it harder for some to get out. During 2 days of hearings, 7 people applied for bail. Only 2 were let out. Cases often involved issues like addictions, mental health, cognitive issues, or homelessness. Problems one prosecutor says bail courts aren't set up to handle.
There simply isn't enough support, I don't believe, in the community to address these issues. And when they come to us, we are even less equipped to deal with it. We deal with it according to law.
In the Provincial Prairie case from September, prosecutors said the man was pushing drivers off the road. His lawyer said he has severe fetal alcohol spectrum disorder and proposed community supports and an ankle monitor to try to get him released. But the judge said even an ankle bracelet wouldn't address the key problem, the impulse issues caused by his FASD. In another case, a former legal assistant with a drinking problem, accused of violating court orders by consuming alcohol, then repeatedly contacting her mom. Her lawyer argued in court that what she needs right now is support, not jail. She was also denied bail because she couldn't confirm the place she'd live if released. In another case, a homeless man with mental health issues accused of acting aggressively at Winnipeg's Victoria Hospital. Not long after, trying to go into restricted areas at St. Boniface Hospital. A judge denied him bail too, saying on the face of it, it's a person who's in distress causing chaos in a healthcare setting. But in the context of his record, this is a chronic issue.
The 2 people who did get bail in the hearings we watched were both accused of domestic violence. They had firm plans like living with a family member or staying on a dry reserve to help address their risk and make sure they follow the rules.
One defense lawyer worries recent calls for change to the bail system would make it even harder to be released, especially for people who are already struggling.
It disadvantages people who have mental health concerns, it disadvantages people who have addictions, and people who are homeless or struggling with poverty. Those are people we should be trying to support.
Lawyers say those issues come up a lot in bail court, and having more specialized resources for those people could help take some strain off the system. It remains to be seen what effect the federal government's proposed changes would have if passed by Parliament. Caitlin Gowerluck, CBC News, Winnipeg.
An update now to a story out of Saskatchewan. RCMP have arrested and charged a Regina man in the shooting death of Tanya Myers. She was struck by a bullet in the passenger seat of her friend's SUV near Weyburn in September. Katie Swires has what we now know.
Oh gosh.
What's happening?
RCMP have confirmed this video captured from a home in Regina shows the moment Chris Fallman was arrested on November 1st. The 42-year-old is charged with 1 count of manslaughter and 3 other weapon charges, including careless use of a firearm. Police say all 4 charges are for the September 12th shooting, which killed Tanya Myers on a highway near Weyburn. RCMP explained the manslaughter charge.
Murder has an intent behind it, whereas manslaughter does not necessarily carry that intent. So the other charges that were laid in addition were done so in consultation with our Crown Counsel.
Myers and her friend Andrea Morris were traveling on Highway 39 to Weyburn when a bullet went straight through the back of their SUV, hitting Myers in the passenger seat. She died at the scene. A second vehicle was also hit by a bullet. The RCMP would not comment in depth on the investigation, but they did say Fallman was not hunting at the time.
I don't have any information relating to him hunting in the area or poaching specifically. The one offense there of occupying a motor vehicle, knowing there's a firearm inside, I mean, generally speaking, that's not an illegal activity to do if one is carrying a legal firearm. and storing it legally.
Social media posts reveal Flon commented on the highway shooting, saying, quote, "This is absolutely disgusting. What is this world coming to?" Flon's lawyer says he is presumed innocent.
I would discourage speculating or, perpetuating rumors about what may or may not have happened and really let that court process play out.
Police say Meyer's family is asking for privacy, but they are relieved someone has been charged. Meyer's friend, Andrea Morris, who was driving the SUV, tells CBC she is eager for court proceedings to start and to get some answers. Flon appeared briefly in provincial court Monday morning by video call. The matter was adjourned until Tuesday. Katie Swires, CBC News, Regina.
A CBC News investigation has uncovered complaints from Cuban citizens who worked at well-paying jobs here in Canada but could barely get by. They say most of their Canadian income was confiscated by the Cuban government. Evan Dyer has the details.
CBC News has agreed to hide this man's identity to protect his family from reprisals in Cuba. He's a professional who worked in Alberta for a joint venture between Cuba's state mining company and a private Canadian company, Sherritt International. On paper, he was paid close to $100,000 annual salary, but the pay slips don't tell the whole story.
As soon as you arrive, you realize that this is a naked abuse. You work like any Canadian here, but you only get a miserable salary.
He says the former Cuban CEO of the Sherritt refinery in Fort Saskatchewan, Alberta, told him that Cuban workers had to wire transfer between 80 and 90% of their net pay to the Cuban government.
We bought most of our food at Dollarama, which had the lowest prices, and for everything else, garage sales.
Some turned to food banks, he said. The confiscation of wages is normal for Cubans working abroad, says this researcher.
These people are not used to thinking, I have the right to take a vacation. I have the right to take my family to the movies. No, they're thinking survival.
But Sherritt's Cuban workers knew they were being exploited.
100% of the Cubans are unhappy about this, but it's not something you would talk about lightly or discuss in public, because the embassy is going to find out.
We're not supposed to form relationships with the Canadians we work with 8 hours a day.
You have an intermediary that is confiscating the salary, hiring you out to another bidder.
Werlaw says the Cuban government is engaged in human trafficking.
The Cuban supervisor has the prerogative to send any member back at any point and to discipline them.
Sherritt International, the Canadian half of the joint venture, said it had no knowledge of any wage confiscation scheme. The Cuban workers said Sherritt paid them their wages in full. It was their Cuban supervisors who then forced them to hand over most of the money. The Cuban government didn't respond to CBC's questions. The Canadian government said it has improved its systems generally for dealing with such abuses, but didn't respond to questions about whether it would intervene in this Cuban joint venture. Evan Dyer, CBC News, Ottawa.
A typhoon has killed at least 40 people in the Philippines, with Cebu being hit the hardest. Heavy rains flooded towns and submerged homes, forcing thousands to flee. The typhoon has weakened since making landfall, but gusts up to 180 kilometers per hour were still being recorded in some regions. Power was still out in many places, and telecommunications services are intermittent. The still powerful storm is expected to hit Vietnam next. It's voting day for millions of people in the U.S. who are casting ballots in some state and municipal elections, including in New York City. The mayoral race there is so important, even the U.S. president is watching and attacking the leading candidate. Chris Reyes has the details.
Zoran Mamdani is the surprise frontrunner in the race to lead the largest city in the U.S. His matchup with former New York Governor Andrew Cuomo has revved up voters. The two couldn't be more different. Cuomo is about as established a name as you can get in the Democratic Party. He ran this state as governor for more than a decade. And newcomer Mamdani shot to prominence when he beat Cuomo to become the party's nominee in this mayoral race, forcing Cuomo to run as an independent. He's 34 years old, a self-declared democratic socialist, and if he wins, he would make history as the youngest and first Muslim mayor of the city.
We're all from Mandami, all ages. There's a whole group of us.
Tell us why you're voting for Cuomo.
Because he can organize a city as well as a state. I think he's competent.
And that's exactly what Cuomo has been pitching. His experience, his slogan, ready on day one. He also says he's the right person to take on President Donald Trump, who has leveled threats against New York, including pulling billions of dollars in federal funding if Mamdani wins. Trump has also urged voters to choose Cuomo.
I'm not a fan of Cuomo one way or the other, but if it's going to be between a bad Democrat and a communist, I'm going to pick the bad Democrat all the time, to be honest with you.
The popularity of Mamdani's campaign platform has caught some off guard here in New York, the financial center of the country, a symbol of capitalism. He pledges higher taxes on corporations and the city's wealthiest, free buses, no-cost childcare, and government-run grocery stores.
We are on the brink of making history in our city, on the brink of saying goodbye to a politics of the past.
This is the most important election of my lifetime. This is going to determine the future of the city of New York.
New Yorkers are expected to turn out in record numbers. More than 700,000 have already voted early. That's 4 times more than in the last election. Chris Reyes, CBC News, New York.
Coming up, we'll take you to a city that straddles the border, where CBC has set up for the week to hear stories from the people who call Flin Flon home. Stay with us. It's a city that felt the full impact of fires this summer. People around Flin Flon were hit with devastation after being forced out of their community. But it's a strong and resilient part of the province, and it's where our CBC team is spending the week as part of our Communities in Focus initiative, putting a spotlight on parts of the province, learning and listening to what's important to people there. The CBC's Rosanna Hempel joins us live from the Whitney Forum Arena in Flin Flon. Rosanna, what's going on there tonight and what are you working on there?
Well, Brittany, the Flin Flon Bombers hockey team is playing the Yorkton Terriers tonight at 7:30. We've already seen some of the players warming up tonight. Now, some people in the community call this arena their winter living room. So we are expecting to see a crowd coming out from both Manitoba and Saskatchewan. Now, the city of Flin Flon falls in both provinces. On the Saskatchewan side, there's more than 200 Flin Flon households. And there's hundreds of more people living in nearby Creighton and Denair Beach. For those along this border, their lives are very much interconnected, and it is one big community. The mayor of Flin Flon says that brings both benefits and challenges, like during emergencies.
It's caused some hardship, it's caused some rifts, we're working our way around it, but those things, that line should not affect, these are things like fire, things like emergencies are not, they're not restricted by borders. They don't see borders. Disease doesn't see borders, all that kind of thing. So we have to learn to get rid of that.
So we'll dive deeper into how they're hoping to do that in the coming weeks.
Okay, so Rosanna, the city was evacuated for nearly a month this spring due to wildfires, and despite efforts, some people still lost their homes. So how's all that recovery going?
So we're speaking with people on both sides of the border who lost their homes. Now, that hasn't been easy. They're dealing with insurance, questions like whether they're going to rebuild or not. We'll bring you one story from a woman who's channeling that grief into art. And we're also connecting with city workers and firefighters who, behind the scenes, how they kept the Flin Flon area safe during the wildfires. And I'm not just talking about cabins and homes, but also the animals that were in town. And for the first time, you'll hear from some of the folks who stayed behind and fought. Here's Flin Flon Fire Chief Jason Curis.
For a lot of my people that are in the Flin Flon department, they grew up here, so they know all these cottage owners, they know everybody here. So it's very difficult to watch somebody else's property, be destroyed. So, and it's not easy for any of the firefighters who came up here to help either. Nobody ever wants to see that. So when you have to see it and you have to continue fighting and continue moving on, it's not the easiest thing.
And this week, we're also hosting a live radio broadcast on Thursday. We have a pop-up office every single day this week at the Orange Toad. If you haven't had the chance to come by yet, please come say hello. Back to you, Brittany.
All right, thank you. That's CBC's Rosanna Hempel. And let's check in with Riley. I know Rosanna was saying it's a little chilly up there in Flin Flon today.
Yeah, and I'll get into your Manitoba forecast in a moment, Brittany, but parts of the north are looking at temperatures in the minus double digits through the overnight hours tonight. It's part of a larger trough that forms in the jet stream as we get into the coming days. First, though, let's have a look at your dog walking forecast. Brittany, among the many morning dog walkers, probably enjoying a bit more sunshine through the early part of the day. Here's Rollo in many different forms. Thank you, Linda, for sending this one in. Many different action shots there. Well, Rollo, good day for a walk tomorrow. A bit chilly in the morning. Looking at temperatures around 6 by the afternoon and 5 into the evening hours. Okay, you know what? Clearer skies across much of the province tonight means you might just catch a glimpse of November's full moon as we head overnight into Wednesday morning. November's full moon is the beaver moon, because at this time of the year, beavers are typically preparing for winter, making their launches, getting everything winterized. But this one, also a supermoon, because the moon will be at its closest point to the Earth in its orbit. So A little big bright moon to see tonight. Hopefully you have some clear skies to see that. Look at our temperature pattern as we get through the next couple of days here, and you can really start to see that defined trough starting to form into the jet stream here. This takes us out to Friday, and if we advance this into the weekend, you can see some of these deeper blue colors starting to sink a little bit further south, and these are temperatures particularly into the early morning hours where we will see things closer to or below the freezing mark. Look at overnight temperatures, for example, around -5, -10. This isn't for everywhere, but it's just meant to give you a bit of a sense of where we're going to see some of that cooler air as we get toward the weekend. And in all honesty, temperatures that are actually a bit closer to seasonal for overnight temperatures for this time of the year. All right, your provincial forecast overnight -3s, -4s in the west. Pretty light westerly wind. Could see a few breezes here and there. -1 in Winnipeg and Peguis into northern Manitoba. Temperatures, yes, in the minus double digits for some. -2 in Flin Flon, -13 a few flurries into Dooley Lake, -10s through Gillam and Shamattawa through the overnight hours. Into the day tomorrow, looking at a mostly sunny sky, a bit of passing cloud, maybe some scattered flurries out of some of this. By the time we get to the afternoon, close to or just above the freezing mark through Norway House, Barons River, Island Lake at -2. Into southern Manitoba, looking at temperatures around 0 to start the day in Dauphin, for example. By the time we get to the afternoon, a mainly sunny sky, Brittany, and temperatures hanging around 5-6 degrees. Your 7-day forecast is just ahead.
Thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
The Anishinaabe of Riding Mountain Search and Rescue Team was honored by Brandon Police today for their role in helping locate the body of a missing teenager. 18-year-old Owen Bedford went missing on June 15th and was found dead in a river 5 days later. Marshall Lawrence was one of 4 search and rescue members recognized at the ceremony. He says for the team, all that mattered was helping the family get closure.
It was great to see everybody come together from all different parts of the province and come together for one goal. It's to help the family.
Thank you for all of the words and the kindness and the effort that everybody gave us through this entire thing. We were through the worst of the worst things that could happen to a family, and we were never alone.
Brandon's police chief says today is about recognizing their hard work. Morgan Harris, Amanda Cook, Geraldine Beardy. They're names that may be familiar to some, but mean the world to others. These are just a few of Manitoba's missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls, and one designer is making sure they aren't forgotten, featuring them alongside dozens of others in a Sisters in Spirit dress, showcased in a fashion show tonight at WAG Calmayork. She spent with CBC Unreserved, Rosanna Gearchild.
It's a masterpiece with a powerful message. Iris Lozon's red dress design is sleek and elegant, accented with black and crimson, satin and bone. But its most striking features are the names of missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. Names like Morgan Harris, Amanda Cook, and Leah Keeper line the dress row upon row. The work is currently on display at the Winnipeg Art Gallery, and its designer joins me now. Iris Lozon is Cree from Churchill, Manitoba, and is a member of York Factory Cree Nation. Iris, welcome, and thank you so much for joining me.
Oh, thank you.
Iris, why did you want to focus on the missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls?
What I really would like is, what does it make you feel? Does it make you realize how serious the problem is? Does it make you realize that these women have families?
Are there certain names that you have a connection to on this dress?
Yeah, I have a couple of cousins on here. Behind every name, there's a story, right? And when we were putting the names on the dress, we said every name out loud. And it was kind of surprising that we knew some of these women, like throughout our life. Like we actually knew some more. Like it's I don't know any women that haven't been affected by this. If it's not directly cousins, like we've all been affected by it. I was a young woman one time. That it could have been me. Like I was a runaway when I was younger. Like I took off to Toronto. But I was kind of wild and crazy, you know, and I took a lot of chances too. I think I'm very fortunate that I survived. When I see these young women reaching out, trying to change their life, it really touches me. Yeah. And these aren't even all the Manitoba names. These aren't just some of them. So the names on the back, those are the Canadian names. And these red strips, like these are only temporary. I made it so that it can come off. And we didn't even get half of the names on here. Look how long the ribbons are.
What kinds of reactions have you been getting to the piece?
Like nobody wants their family's name on this dress, you know, but to have their names put on in a dignified way so they can be remembered properly, you know.
And with love.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You can watch CBC Manitoba's live stream of the runway show tonight at 8 on our YouTube channel. The Crafted Show and Sale runs Friday through Sunday at the WEG. Still ahead, a reunion with a beloved hot dog truck. Plus, of course, Riley is back with the last check on our forecast. Stay with us.
All right, here is a look at your 7-day forecast. Hope you enjoy a bit of sunshine as we head through the day on Wednesday. Most of us seeing sunny sky, maybe a bit of cloud here and there. 6 degrees the high tomorrow. Good chance of showers as we get into Thursday. That does turn into a slight chance of some flurries in the Red River Valley. The better chance being into Westman as we head into the overnight hours. Into Friday morning, we get a bit of sunshine back. Another chance of flurries into Sunday. A bit more sunshine by the time we get into next week, ahead of a bit more cloud cover into Monday. And you'll notice temperatures sliding back towards seasonal, which is around the freezing mark for this time of the year. One weather picture for you tonight. I could use some more weather pictures. Linda captured this photo of the moon over the city last night. Hope you can get a shot of that supermoon tonight as well.
All right, thanks, Riley.
You're welcome.
In 2015, a Saskatchewan man had to sell his hot dog truck. It's something that's been out of sight and out of mind for years. That is until a chance run-in and a simple Google search for a photo reunited him with the nostalgic vehicle.
We got to put sesame seeds up there. We got to put relish up there.
I was up at Nest Creek Music Festival, and this girl comes up to me and she says, "I know you." I said, "How do you know me?" She says, "Because you used to have the hot dog truck in Regina." And my daughter turns to me and goes, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh, God." And then I explained it to Ruby, and Ruby, because she's 14 and smart, she just Googles hot dog truck in Saskatchewan. And lo and behold, up pops Grant's image.
Headed northeast and was coming over a dirt hill, and then I just started to see it, just this little top of what I looked like a hot dog, a very big hot dog. And as I got over the rise, sure enough, that's what it was. It was a very large, like 10-foot hot dog spanning the top of this old food truck. And I knew I had to stop and take a photo, of course. You can't pass that up. And I think it was like a year later, Kenny reached out and he said, "Hey, where did you see that hot dog truck?" And I'm wondering who this person is and why they care so much. And it turned out it was his. And he shared pics with his young daughter there with him.
So Ruby and I took a road trip out, and we're cresting the hill, just as Grant said, and I swear to God, Tori, I start to cry, because sometimes things from your past that were good come back to you for good reason at a good time, and this was perfect timing for me.
And in case you're wondering, Kenny managed to buy it back and is already starting to refix it up. That's all for us tonight. Have a wonderful night. I'll see you back here tomorrow.